In this video, we are going to talk about fiction stories. And you may remember that fiction means a fake or made up story. Like the story Corduroy. Corduroy is a fiction story. It's about a little stuffed bear who loses his button in the mall. Another example of a fiction story would be this story called Two Bad Ants. It's about these two ants who are very mischievous and they get into a lot of trouble. This is a fiction story, a fake or made up story. Now, all fiction stories have story elements. And I made this poster to remember what story elements are in fiction stories. So when we read fiction stories, we can identify or become detectives and find out all the story elements in the book. Here it is. This is a chart that tells us what story elements are. In every fiction story, there are characters. So that's our first box. Characters. Now, characters can be anything. They could be animals. They could be people. Or, since it's a fiction, it's a fake or made up story, it could be things like bringing a book to life. Or in Two Bad Ants, the characters are two ants who talk to each other and get in trouble. So characters are who the story is about. Now, the next box of story elements is setting. Do you remember talking about setting? Every fiction story has a setting. A setting means where did the story happen and when. For example, it could be, did the story happen during the day or at night? And then the next part is where. Where did the story take place? Did it take place at school? In a lake? Did it take place in the forest? In the story Corduroy, the setting is in a mall, in a shopping mall. Now, the last part of the story elements chart is the retell or plot. I always say beginning, middle, and end. I like to think of it as a roller coaster. I love roller coasters. In every single roller coaster, there is a beginning, a middle, and an end. Just like every fiction story. There's a beginning, the middle, and the end. Or we could use words like first, next, and last. So, these are all the story elements of fiction stories. Character, who are the characters? Setting, where is the story taking place and when? And then, what is the beginning, middle, and end of the story to retell it to someone? Now, I've gone over all the story elements of fiction stories, so I hope you were listening, so in the next story, we can identify all of them together. See you next time.